men and women in uniform, I do not suggest you wait till you are about a month or even a year out from getting out of the military to consider buying a home.
I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. Hey everyone, my name is Brendan Gordon, your favorite Central Texas Realtor, and I'm excited because we are going to be starting a series all for home purchasing. So I'm going to be connecting you with the best people in our area, a lender, a title company, and an inspector. They're going to be dropping some valuable nuggets, and I'm not just going to talk about it, I'm going to take you to them personally. So join me as we hit the streets so we can provide you with valuable information to make the best decision, because purchasing home is not something to take lightly. It's one of the biggest transactions that you're going to have in your lifetime, and you need to be prepared. Let's go. All right, you guys, I'm super excited to make this next introduction. Here we have Michelle Westbrook with Veterans United, our local Killeen branch. You guys know I'm always a huge advocate of working with local companies and individuals to make sure you have all the correct information to make your best decisions. Now, again, this is the Killeen branch, but she services all of the Central Texas area and beyond, so you can always reach out to her for any questions or concerns. But today she's going to talk about some experiences with buyers as far as what are their common concerns. She's going to shine some light on maybe some questions that you guys may be thinking about, especially if you're looking to purchase pretty soon. What's going on with the market? Because again, we want to make sure as a team that we're providing you with everything that you need to make the best decision. It's not every day that you buy a home, and so it's super important that you get as much resources to your fingertips so you can make those good decisions.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Brina.
Thank you for making time. I love her office. And I love that you have a brick and mortar office too, because sometimes we don't see that in this day and age, but I think it's really important for people to have a space to come to. If you want to come down, sit, talk to her in the office, ask questions or concerns, you have that option to do that.
Absolutely. That's one of the great things about working local, right?
Absolutely.
You can come in, you can meet with your lender, you can meet with the different entities that help with the home buying experience, and just be able to really sit down and get to the real essence of not only your client's needs, but really what is taking place in the market today.
Absolutely. And with markets continuing to change, I know buyers are always asking you questions. Michelle, when's a good time to buy? Maybe when's a good time to sell? Because she stays in contact with you beyond just your purchasing. Absolutely. I see it every day. And I want to make sure that you guys know I'm talking to individuals that I personally work with. So I understand their communication styles. I understand how they benefit the clients. And so I'm always going to try my best to give you the best individuals out there. So what are some concerns that or market changes that you see with?
Yeah, so right now, one of the biggest things is people thinking that interest rates just all of a sudden kind of plummeted or dropped because of the Fed meeting that was recently had. Yes, it has benefited the housing market a little bit, but you're really seeing that benefit on other entities, really in auto loans, personal loans, things like that. In our housing industry with interest rates, they're pretty much kind of where they were pre-COVID, which is not a bad thing at all. When is it a bad time to buy real estate? Right. Never, because it's an investment to your future. So the fact of the matter is there is a small amount of inventory with a great opportunity to buy, and that really makes it an amazing market for buyers to hop on in, get those great negotiating tools happening with their local realtor, and really be able to find out what makes the opportunity position for them to be able to buy a house in this neighborhood, in this community.
So I think she just touched on a really awesome topic, because like she said, a lot of times people are getting some of their information from some of the larger sources, but how does that actually kind of tailor down to the local market, local needs, what's actually changing in real estate? So interest rates are not plummeting. I know there's been, some talk of that or some hope for that, but as we can see, realistically, they've moderately changed. But again, it's having that personal connection to someone so they can sit down, have those informed conversations with you, see what's going to best make sense for yourself, which is what she does, and see what's going to be the best way to move forward. If it is purchasing, understanding your purchasing power, understanding your budget, and just kind of making sure you have all the tools and resources to make those decisions. So I would love for you to kind of share, when you're having those initial conversations with buyers, what are some of those key points that you go ahead and start bringing up in those first initial contacts?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest things is before we even start an application is transparency, right? Because as a loan officer, it's important for me to really be able to give you valid information, helpful information. And the only way to do that is really for a buyer to be transparent with me.
Right.
So it's important that we have that. The walls are broken down. We really get a chance to communicate, kind of know each other's style and habits, so we can really be successful in the home buying experience. So that's number one. Then after we kind of get through that, the best thing that we're going to do is do the application, talk about their finances, talk about their income, find out what their main goal is for a new property. Since Rena's the real estate agent, I'm always say you're the one that helps them shop for the house. I'm the one that helps make sure that you can buy the house. And so that's really what my job is, to really kind of see what you've already committed yourself to with your current obligations, monthly payment debt, and then really show you what's available based on what your buying power is. So interest rates don't really play the hugest part in that process. It's really what have you already committed yourself to on a monthly basis, and then how can we make that work with your current income.
Hey, if you're thinking of relocating to the Fort Cavazos area, I have just the thing for you. My team and I have actually taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research. And I have it linked right down below. The best part is there's no obligation to this, and it's going to come with everything from the top employers to the best schools and a boatload of other information. Everything that you need to make the best decision. Again, no obligation. So make sure you click the link below. It also will be pinned, and I hope that it helps.
Now, with so many things at your fingertips, that's awesome. But sometimes that information can get a little clouded or just overwhelming. And I want Michelle to kind of dive into, a lot of times people are looking at a lot of major sites, Zillow or Realtor.com, and they may be kind of grabbing some of that information, but sometimes it's not always accurate. What sort of discrepancies do you see when people are looking at those sort of sources versus when you're speaking to them, it's like, hey, this is actually a little bit more accurate?
Yeah, so again, the benefit of working local, right? Because you're not aware of what services Zillow or Realtor.com or any of these third party entities are really getting their data from. One of the
Right.
hugest things you'll see is their payment scenarios. The payments on their website or what their estimate is on the home really could lead you to believe that the home is overpriced when speaking with a local realtor and they're doing a market analysis will really show you, man, that house may be dead on of what it should be. So those things, they also kind of put a 20% down payment is your traditional down payment for a conventional loan. That is not always the case.
Right.
On a VA loan, you have 0% down. So you're going to see a larger elevated payment than what you see online because they're estimating you're putting so much money down compared to an FHA or a VA buyer. One of the other misconceptions that we see is why not use a local realtor? Information and the essence of that information is really vital because, yes, you may think that, oh, I could do that, or it's not that much. Well, it actually is a lot because
Right.
you need someone on the ground, boots to the ground, that's going to be able to really help represent you. You wouldn't hire an attorney who doesn't show up for court or doesn't dress the part. No, you want someone that's going to be able to advocate for you in all assets of or all aspects of the transaction. And that's another benefit of working local. If I need a question answered, I can reach out to Brina right away. It's not,
Absolutely.
I have to go through a 1-800 number. I got to wait on hold. I got to be transferred to this person, that person. No, there's one number to call, one person to talk to, and you get your answers really straight from the horse's mouth, if you will.
Pretty much. And they know agents always have their phone, or we're going to get back to them fairly quickly. Same thing with Michelle. If we have
Yeah.
questions or concerns, I know she has that accessibility to get to her quickly, because sometimes, it's after hours, it's the weekends, and that's when real estate is really moving. And if it's a large entity that's in another state, a different time zone, maybe we're able to access somebody, maybe we're not. And maybe that was the critical moment that we need to get your offer in. So there's so many variables that can happen in real estate. And again, it's not saying everything's going to go perfectly or everything's going to go wrong, but it's just giving you the right people, the right tools and resources to make the best decisions through one of your largest processes and transactions that you're going to have in your life.
Buyers and active duty service members, and we definitely thank you for your service and
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice, who have BH, which is a huge thing,
Absolutely.
where you get paid housing, in a sense, your basic housing allowance. That can assist you with being able to purchase a home. We use those things to help buyers be able to qualify for more home. Now, in our area, our BH may be a little bit less than some of the other areas, but that does not mean that that cannot help you into getting into a home.
Correct.
As it may not be able to pay for the entire mortgage, it is something that can really help offset the mortgage costs.
Absolutely.
So that's a huge thing. Also with that, your ETS dates. For men and women in uniform, I do not suggest you wait till you are about a month or even a year out from getting out of the military to consider buying a home. That is one of those things I would highly recommend you want to do while you're active,
Yes.
because we can use that basic income, your base pay, your BH, your BS to really qualify for you for property. Or when you're planning on getting out, if you're getting out within the next 12 months, I cannot use your active duty income. So you totally just put a halt on your buying experience because you're planning to get out, and we cannot ensure that that income is going to qualify for the next 3 years. So it's important to have that information. Those misconceptions will mess you up thinking that, oh, I can just get out and be able to buy a house. No, you may want to talk to a local lender and really find out what you qualify for. One of the other little misconceptions that just popped in my head is taking a look at a active duty member's certificate of eligibility, or even a veteran certificate of eligibility. You'll see on there something may say 0. People who don't really do VA loans very often will say, oh, you don't have any entitlement left. Well, that's not the case. So it's always important to work with someone to really find out what you qualify for, what specifically your situation allows, because one of the amazing things about a home buying experience is it's different for everybody.
Yes, it is.
No one person has the same experience as another. The same way your credit report is not going to be the same as another. And that really just means that everyone kind of has their tailored experience, but it's important to work with someone who specializes in your loan product and in the local field to really be able to help you find out what your options are.
All right, now for the question of the day. What is the first thing you look for in a new city? Is it a coffee shop or your favorite store? I really want to know, so make sure you comment down below, or better yet, shoot me a text, email, or even give me a call. All my information is going to pop up here on the screen. So again, what is the first thing you look for in a new city?
Get with your lender so they can kind of tell you what to do next. But Michelle, why do we say this?
Well, one of the biggest things that you need to know is when any of your monthly installment debt. So a lender is going to look at what's on your credit report. We're not looking at your cell phone bill. We're not looking at your water bill. We're not looking at your insurance for your cars. We're looking at the debts that are on your credit report. So any of those liabilities, what we call them, have to be considered in your debt to income ratio.
Okay.
When you go out and buy a car and the lender or the finance company pulls your credit at a dealership per se, they're not just pulling it with one finance company. They're pulling with all their brothers and sisters in the finance company that they work with, that they're affiliated with. And so now you went to one place and potentially have 15 different credit pulls.
Guess who's going to see that?
We see it. And then you go out and buy a car. So you're buying a car, they choose one, they put you the best offer, and that monthly payment now has to be calculated in your debt to income ratio. No matter what you do up until the day you close, any inquiries, any new debts that you take on have to be attributed to your debt to income ratio. So if I was able to get you qualified with a 52% debt to income ratio, which means your income, divide that by 52%, that is what your monthly qualifying income can now be. And you buy a car, that's a $500 payment. You just dipped into your mortgage $500. So now we have to decrease your mortgage payment by $500 because of this new installment loan that you took out. That is why it's important to let us know ahead of time if something happens. If your car breaks down, you got to buy a new car. You have to finance tires. If you let us know, we can show you what it's going to take to make the numbers work. And we would think like, oh, well, you know, we can make a way about it. It doesn't always compute the same. So I always say you have to speak with your lender, because what we have in your file doesn't always seem to match traditional math. Qualifying income is completely different than the amount of money that you bring home in your paycheck. So that's a reason why it's important to speak with a lender. Also, you don't want to quit your job during the process.
All these things have happened.
Yes, they've all happened. Sometimes even on the day of closing, we find out, because we're going to check within 48 hours usually about you closing if you still have your job, if you're still employed with the current employer, you still make the same, nothing has changed there. So a client quits their job before closing.
The VA doesn't technically have a credit score minimum, but each lender has an overlay. And on top of that, your credit score that you may be looking at it, Credit Karma or whatever tracking system that you use, is not the same credit score that lenders pull.
Yes. So first and foremost, we do have, every single lender has their, what they would be comfortable with or what their system will allow them to get a buyer approved for with their credit. You have some as low as 580. You can have some as high as 620. And even like manufactured homes, you may be looking at higher credit scores because of the risk of a manufactured home. But the thing to know is the VA does not do loans. They don't service loans. They don't give you financing for loans. So they put out their guidelines that say that they don't have a minimum credit score, but they do not offer financing for their loans. So that's why a local lender is going to help you. They are going to be the ones that kind of let you know our minimum credit score here at Veterans United is 620. Sometimes we will have it at 600, just depending on what the market looks like. But that means that a buyer is at a traditional risk for a mortgage. Why is that important? Because the lower the credit score, the higher the interest rate. So yes, just say a lender can go to 580, but what does that cost you as the buyer to be able to qualify? You may not just be zero down. You may have a required down payment. You may have to pay higher cost of points, which is a percentage of your loan amount to the lender. That does not go to your loan. It's not a down payment. It's just them doing a finance charge in a sense, or origination or lender cost for you to be able to qualify or use their service to buy the home using that lender. So those are important conversations as well. So making sure that your credit score is where it needs to be, finding a lender that can assist you in that magnitude, and then knowing what potential costs you could be or risk you're doing have because of where your credit is.
Hey guys, as much as I love making these videos, there's one thing that I absolutely love more, and that's helping families from all over the U.S. make the move here to the Fort Cavazos and surrounding area. I've helped countless families move here, so whether you're coming out next week, next month, or even next year, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My contact information is going to be right here down below in case you missed the pop-up screen, and I look forward to helping you and your family move to our beautiful area.
Still using your VA loan, because you can use your VA loan to purchase a 1 to 4 unit property. So that's a positive. It's there. It gives you a way to live in one of the units as your primary residence, because that is what the VA loan is for. And then being able to rent out the subsequent units to be able to build that generational wealth, build your portfolio, be able to get a little additional residual income in the future.
Awesome. And so we know that those are becoming more and more hot topics for people, because everyone wants to make sure that they're preparing for the future, creating that generational wealth, and utilizing your VA loan is a great option for it. You just want to make sure you have all the information ahead of time so you don't get caught off guard, so you know what expenses to think about or take in consideration, because when you're being a landlord, basically, there are some other things that you want to keep in mind with that. So it's a great responsibility. It's a great option, but you just want to make sure it's a good fit for you.
Absolutely.
So you guys, make sure you comment down below questions, concerns. What have you seen that maybe you have questions about in the lending side? We can get you connected to Michelle so she can answer you.